Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, a glimpse into the future, the 2040 National Development Plan revealed. Round 2 of the case for equality as referendum day looms. And fighting fire in Sir Lyndon Pinling Estates. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, starts now.
Now in HD. Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
The blueprint of change for the country over the next 2 decades and beyond reaches a critical point as the first phase is completed. Good evening, everyone. I'm Charisma Robinson.
I'm Keishla Adderley. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Topping the news, the National Development Plan Secretariat has successfully completed the first phase of its plan. The State of the Nation report is the result. Representatives from the private sector and from civil society highlighted the importance of the plan and the need for participation from all sectors. The document is a culmination of a review of available statistical information, academic research, government reports, and stakeholder consultation. Prime Minister Perry Christie highlighted the National Development Plan as an opportunity to fundamentally change the Bahamas. Clint Watson takes a look.
This is the beginning of the next stage of our future.
The 79-page State of the Nation report focuses on 4 areas: human and social capital, the economy, governance, and the environment. This report will be used to frame the next phase of the National Development Plan process, which will be driven by national consultations. In presenting the report, Chairman of the Steering Committee, Felix Stubbs, says the Bahamas has a demographic gift as 66% of the population is working aged 15 to 64. However, he warns that this gift can be lost as the population ages and if the country doesn't take advantage of the working opportunities and gifts of its people. The report notes that too many Bahamians are unhealthy, overweight, poor, uneducated, have lost their sense of values, live in decaying communities, and are part of a society that needs to be more inclusive. Under the pillar of governance, the report suggests without changes, our governance arrangements will not continue to support a modern Bahamas. The plan calls for more transparency in government, greater need for planning, right fitting of the public service capacity and skills management, and revision of local government. Crime was identified as the number 1 issue facing Bahamians as it affects families, the economy, and society. Climate change is a core threat to the future of the country and under the pillar of the environment. The Bahamas also ranks among the most water-scarce of small island developing states. Sea level rise we already know is a critical issue, as our very existence is now being threatened. The management of solid waste also a major concern impacting Bahamians. Land ownership said to be extremely complex, and it is said that we cannot function without a clearly defined land administration system in order to avoid overlapping claims and rights to land, an outdated Crown land divestment policy, and the existence of commonage and generational property. The report is clear that the transportation links are costly to provide in an archipelagic country, but critical to the national vision. Under the economy pillar, it said that we have a highly vulnerable, undiversified, and underperforming economy with the potential of doing so much more. However, we are a strong nation with a stable exchange rate supported by prudent monetary policies. In the largest sector, tourism, there is limited growth in the stopover market and increased growth in cruise passengers. In short, this ministry has to establish greater linkages and strengths to build on. The report also looks at financial services and agriculture and fisheries. The vulnerability and competitiveness of the country is also a concern, with specific note that the Bahamas ranks 106 out of 189 on the World Bank's 2016 report on doing business indicators.
The challenges ahead are difficult, but not insurmountable. They will require all of the creative energy and innovative thinking of all citizens and residents of the Bahamas that we can muster. The challenges must be faced not by one person at a time, but by all of us working together all of the time.
In his response to the State of the Nation report, Prime Minister Christie outlined how this report affects the National Development Plan.
The State of the Nation report explains all that which exists today. The National Development Plan will define that which
should exist and will provide the details of how to move us to that state as a nation. This process is also about quantifying our strengths and identifying national and international opportunities which can give us a comparative and competitive advantage.
The report, which is printed in hard copy, can also be found online at www.vision2040bahamas.org, as well as the College of the Bahamas' website at www.cob.edu.bs. This is the first of 3 phases. The other 2 include the next phase, which is consultative, and then the final phase, the formulation and drafting of the National Development Plan. Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
Well, thanks a lot, Clint. New Providence will become the world's first smart island. This from the Secretary General of the International Telecommunication Union, Howlin Zhao, during the State of the Nation report last evening. Zhao says this is a very big step for the country. Now, a smart island is similar to smart cities. It's a heavy concentration on technological advancements in the operations of transportation, traffic flow, security, and in general access to information.
Be utilizing new technologies that will enable the Bahamas to become smarter, more competitive, and more sustainable. It is also expected to foster new opportunities and improve the partnerships between national, local governments, and private sector towards promoting smart urban solutions. Honorable Prime Minister, the ITU remains ready to work very closely and give support to your administration to ensure that New Providence becomes a smart island, which would be a first and a leading example for SIDs all over the world.
As focus is placed on a national development plan, attention is also being given to the financial state of the country, with the implementation of new tax reforms, including value-added tax and emphasis on foreign direct investment. Newly appointed governor of the central bank, John Roll, says even with the slow growth projections, the Bahamas continues to hold its own. Janaea Noel Ferguson has more.
Governor of the central bank, John Roll, says improvements in a number of sectors in the economy are encouraging. This despite predictions by international rating agencies and other financial monitors.
We'd all like to see the growth being stronger than it is. But there is growth. The foreign exchange inflows from tourism activity it's stronger than it was last year. We're seeing the effects of that in terms of the seasonal accumulation in terms of the foreign reserves. So we know that there is some growing activities, particularly in terms of the convention and related business in the tourism sector.
Governor Roll added that there is still year-after-year investment inflows that help to bolster the economy, but comparisons are still influenced heavily by highs and lows of the previous year. He used the stalled $3.5 billion Bahama project as an example.
The Bahama project, which would have been already winding down in 2015, so you still see the contrast in terms of the reduction in overall activity given the large size of that one project. But separating out that project, there is still a healthy flow of foreign investment activities, a steady flow in certain tourism-related projects.
Meanwhile, various sectors, including the opposition, has criticized government over the funds collected from value-added tax and what the funds are now being used for. The central bank governor explained exactly how the funds are dispersed from the new tax regime.
Revenue is not allocated to a specific purpose. The total revenue is used to fund the total expenditure. And so the focus would be if there is growth in revenue, reduction in revenue, what is happening overall in terms of how expenditures are being prioritized or adjusted to reflect those changes.
Rose says moving forward, this will be considered as preparations are also being made for the 2016-2017 national budget. Reporting from the Central Bank, I'm Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Construction on the multi-million-dollar Point development is progressing well. It's an investment that's expected to change the landscape of the country's tourism industry as it's poised to become the region's most sought-after destination.
And while some have expressed concerns about the project from its architecture style to the company driving this investment, key stakeholders involved with the development quickly allayed those fears. Sias Gadley tells us more.
The Point is being described by developers as a world-class lifestyle and residential development designed to redefine the downtown Nassau area. The multi-million-dollar project is being constructed, financed, and developed by China Construction America, the general contractor for the Bahamas resort. The decision for CCA to construct the Point has raised concerns by various sectors of society. Well, president of that development, Daniel Liu, sought to set the record straight by noting the difference between the Bahamian Riviera and the Point.
It is not only for the tourists, but also for Bahamians alike. So we open arms for the local Bahamian businessmen and young professionals. We'll welcome you to come back to downtown, where we have spent close to $280 million to develop the hotels, residence, marina, and all the other amenities, including the beautiful parking garage that can host close to 1,000 cars.
Liu's comments to the media came during the launch of Mario Carey Realty's partnership with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate at the Summer Palace restaurant Monday afternoon. Minister of State for Investments, the Honorable Kalis Roll, stressed the importance of having a project like the Point in the Bahamas, in particular downtown Nassau, and how Bahamians will be able to benefit.
Unless we bring life to the city of Nassau, we will continue to run the risk of a further deteriorating of a historic downtown. We now have a heart of the city, but to save that heart, we need to bring it to life. When the Point is complete, it will not only be a hotel and a promenade with shops and restaurants, it will include 132 condominiums, bringing the one thing that downtown Nassau needs and has needed for nearly half a century, a residential population.
Mario Carey Realty is one of several firms that will be selling the development to interested buyers. Its president and CEO, Mario Carey, believes the Point brings unique product offerings that are needed to boost the local real estate sector.
It's a new development. Obviously, the broker community want to embrace the Point. There's probably 132 condos to sell, maybe $80 to $100 million in real estate transactions. And we're looking to bring the brand to try and help market the Point.
Once open, the development is expected to offer exciting amenities, including a wide range of shopping and dining options, a marina, and luxurious oceanfront residences. Construction on the Point is said to be progressing and remains on target to open at the end of 2017. Sias Gadley, ZNS Network News.